So I don't know if the Ethereum ETF gets approved today, next week or the week after. It will get approved at some point in time. But also the trade now is who's next?
The Ethereum spot ETF is getting approved for the first time in crypto's history. ETH ETF approval delayed until after July 8th. This is due to the holiday in America. But also, the US SEC has requested the issuers submit revised filings by July 8th. And the ETFs are significant because institutions finally have an easy on-ramp to allow all that institutional money to buy Ethereum.
But also the trade now is who's next?
Watch today's whole video. I have Chainlink news, Polkadot big news, but let's start for the altcoin getting an ETF most likely after Ethereum.
Big elephant in the room here is how regulators would treat Ethereum versus Solana versus Bitcoin. How much concern do you have about the regulatory disapproval of Solana versus how they treat Ethereum?
So we know that Van Eck has filed for a Solana spot ETF. Also, 21 Shares has filed an application, and 3iQ, a company in Canada. BlackRock is expected to apply for a Solana ETF in July, although this has not been confirmed yet. But with Van Eck, for example, having applications for both Ethereum and Solana, the firm's Matthew Siegel says decisions on both come down to SEC's Gary Gensler.
Well, one thing that Gary Gensler said at your conference last week, which was not in that soundbite, it was that the Ethereum applications are going smoothly. And this might be the only time in 3 years that I've agreed with Gary Gensler about something. But if these products are allowed to trade, then that confirms that Ethereum is a commodity. And the same thing will be true of Solana as well. So, there's some focus that there's no regulated futures market for Solana, and that might be holding back the ETF. We think that is a Gensler psyop. He has created that condition since taking power. There are a number of ETFs that trade where the futures market is irrelevant to the price formation. I'm talking about shipping ETFs, uranium ETFs, power ETFs. So with the slight change in the regulatory environment in Washington, we think these will get approved.
So typically, if an asset gets a regulated futures contract, that often leads to a spot ETF. Solana didn't get this. They don't have a futures contract, although while that's precedent, it is not a requirement. Solana to hit $1,000 on perfect ETF storm if approved, although that all depends on inflows. For example, with Ethereum, Steno Research predicts that spot ETFs will take Ether to $6,500 per coin later this year. If they can get the inflows, Steno believes the Ethereum ETFs will attract funds between $15 to $20 billion during the first year of trading, even including the possible outflows coming from the Ethereum Grayscale Trust. This pushes Ethereum's price over $6,500 per coin. Of course, if Ethereum doesn't get the inflows, the bearish case, Steno's vision differs from the bearish vision of other market analysts like Bloomberg's Eric Balchunas and James Seyffert, who have foreseen that these instruments will only be able to capture 10% to 20% of the inflows that their Bitcoin counterparts captured this year. In other words, the bearish case would only be between $1.5 to $3 billion in inflows, rendering the ETF unsuccessful compared to its Bitcoin counterpart. But Ethereum and Solana are different. They're competitors, competitive. What could be the bull case for Solana?
Kind of double down here on the question between Ethereum and Solana, because if you were one of the few issuers that may be offering both ETFs, how do you talk to clients about it? They are direct competitors.
Well, fiduciaries want to pick the asset that they think is going to go up the most and then take a bet. So this is the largest capital markets in the world. We're in the business of designing intelligent investment products and letting our clients choose. We've put out a lot of research on why we think that Solana may end up as the blockchain with the largest market share, but let's let the clients decide.
And Chainlink news, Chainlink has officially partnered with Fidelity International and Sygnum Bank to bring net asset value, NAV, data on-chain.
So net asset value data, NAV data, is a critical component of tokenized funds.
This in-production use case resolves around Fidelity International's $6.9 billion institutional liquidity fund.
The fund industry is one of the largest parts of the global financial system, and Fidelity International is one of the biggest players in that ecosystem.
And founder Sergey Nazarov explains the significance of Fidelity International and Sygnum partnership and why we're at a critical tipping point in fund tokenization.
So what this basically is about is using Chainlink as a technical resource to provide net asset value data to allow that tokenized fund to come into existence. This pattern is very similar to the pattern that we've seen with DeFi in the earlier years of Chainlink, where you actually couldn't make DeFi protocols, and you still can't make particularly secure DeFi protocols without relying on high-quality decentralized Oracle networks from Chainlink. And so when decentralized Oracle networks came into existence, DeFi boomed from a sub-$100 million industry to an over $200 billion industry. And I feel that the tokenized fund trend, which is part of real-world assets overall, is kind of in a similar position, where historically net asset value data hasn't been being put on chain. And now that it is being put on chain by highly reliable decentralized Oracle networks in the Chainlink ecosystem, you're starting to see more and more tokenized funds come into existence.
Now, as discussed in yesterday's video, Coinbase is about to launch CFTC-regulated futures for Chainlink and Polkadot. And Polkadot has been making major news that you need to be aware of as a DOT holder. Private jet brandedization is one way Polkadot burnt cash. Crypto Twitter showed no mercy as Polkadot published a transparency report detailing spending $87 million of DOT tokens, and a lot of that on marketing. So this was entirely voted on by the community. This was that breakdown. They spent DOT token on advertising / sponsorships, influencers, digital ads, media, events, etc. And specifically, what the community was sort of ragging on Polkadot for. Polkadot spent $4.9 million for influencers, $1.9 million to sponsor race car driver Connor Daly, $1 million for digital ads on CoinMarketCap, almost $200,000 to brand a private jet, and $6.8 million for a deal with a prestigious soccer club, although we don't have the exact name of that yet. And just some of the sort of funny things I found interesting about this transparency. And by the way, they're 100% transparent, which I love. Polkadot paid CoinMarketCap $500,000 to put an animated logo on the homepage, like this, right here. But one of the biggest details that was sort of disclosed in this public report, influencers getting paid $28,000 per month to talk about Polkadot. So by the way, that's about $500,000 in monthly deals. And full disclosure, my brother and I, Altcoin Daily, have done this before, in the past. It's interesting that even though the community is sort of ragging on them, this was voted on by the Polkadot DAO. This was voted on by the people. When you put the people in charge, this is how they chose to allocate some of the Polkadot treasury. And the good news is that the average DOT price has gone up this half year, resulting in more bang for the DOT buck, highlighted by the fact that DOT spending went up by 2.4x, but the USD equivalent value is up 3.2x in the same time frame, so they got a better deal. And their official account is even joking about this. Well, first off, Near Protocol posted yesterday, can't spell Polkadot without KOL, key opinion leader. Am I right? And then Polkadot responded, community voted, we're rebranding to KOL Kadot. Both interns from Polkadot and Near Protocol gone wild. Now again, I don't see the big deal. That's what the community, their own community, chose how to allocate those funds. Chainlink, Stellar, all crypto protocols do that internally. Polkadot offered that transparency. And some people were saying, hey, Solana never paid any influencers. They only spent money on hacker houses, events like Breakpoint, and those hackathons. Solana is built different.
People ask me, how do I afford to live in Manhattan? I'll tell you. I use Solana, which has 0.0025 cent transaction fees on average, as opposed to Ethereum's $40 transaction fees.
Yet, many examples can be found for all protocols.
And this is why I'm partnering with Solana. It's faster, it's cheaper, and I am bullish on efficiency.
I would really love to hear your thoughts on this down below. And I will leave you with this. I posted this on the Roundtable app forum. It's linked down below. Standard Chartered is predicting $100,000 Bitcoin by this August. What do you think? Any quality comments may be tipped with RTB token. So again, check it out, link down below. And literally 2 days left to grab your tickets for Bitcoin Nashville before ticket prices increase. So use code Altcoin Daily for 10% off your tickets.